let's go to something I love doing, and that is slandering Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is not my problem anymore. He is honestly he's a Jets problem. That's exactly what he is. We just had mandatory minicamp across the NFL. Keyword being mandatory. I was at the Bears one last week. A couple others just had theirs this week. The Jets had theirs this week. And where was Mr. Aaron Rodgers in mandatory minicamp? Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found, to the point where it is not an excused absence. Robert Salah went up there and looked like he saw a ghost when he realized this nigga wasn't coming there. And there really hasn't been any explanation about where he's at. Was Albert Breer was on Rich Eisen this week, and he said that this is something that the team didn't find out till last minute, and that, you know, it's not excused, but they can't excuse it because if he's able to do this, the rest of the team's gonna be like, how are they able to do this? Now, I'm just glad the rest of the world sees what I've been saying forever. In the words of Michael Irvin said, everybody's seeing what I've been seeing for the last couple of years. The nigga's selfish. The nigga is not a good person. Like, if your own mother, your whole entire family doesn't like you, that should say something. You go up here this past February and talk about all the distractions with Zach Wilson and things of that nature and say we need to just get back focused to football. And then you don't even show up to mandatory camp. That's a distraction to the football. If I'm a member of that roster, I'd be upset, especially when you missed the entire season last year. And now we're supposed to hope that your 40-year-old ACL or the Achilles holds up. And by the way, the NFL's tweaking. They gave them niggas 8 primetime games. Y'all really expecting him to stay healthy the entire year, which is crazy. I don't even know the Jets backup right now. And that nigga might be on Sunday Night TV, Sunday Night Football multiple times this year. But you're just really seeing just the selfishness that comes with this. And I understand why this is being a big deal. And if you're the Jets, if this doesn't work out for you, and now you see why Green Bay wanted to get rid of him years from now, where do you go from here? I'm gonna go to Courtney because you said you wanted to get some stuff off about the Jets. What you think about everything going on with Aaron Rodgers, and do you think him missing mandatory camp is a big deal?
Yeah, well, first off, to answer your question, their backup quarterback is Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Tyrod.
Yeah. And then their third stringer is Jordan Travis, the guy who also is running on like a fraction of a fucking leg because he got hurt last year. And that's why they infamously did not allow Florida State into the college football playoff.
Yeah.
They're like, this shit's not going to be very competitive because I think you can't even play. But yeah, so listen, it's June, so there's not a lot for us to talk about. But I do think it's funny how the main guy that was saying that he wanted to flush the bullshit and eliminate distractions is the distraction, right? And like you said, like Robert Saleh just looks so like demoralized, which is crazy because like it's fucking June. Like the season hasn't even started. And it's like he just looks so tired of having to constantly go up there and talk about this guy. Which I almost feel like a little bad. Like the Jets are like that. We all know that one girl in college that like had so much life and like, you know, vibrance. And then she started dating like a really shitty guy. And then he like took her away from all her friends and like took her Nissan Altima and like drop her off and, you know, pick her back up. Like, you know, no, baby, I know that's your brown sugar vanilla Bath and Body Works that you
That sounds
serve.
like every nigga in college.
Like the shit out of her. Like I feel bad because she feels like she doesn't have anywhere else. That's the fucking Jets with Aaron Rodgers.
So
like
she's
essentially holding them hostage.
Dating Jody. That's what she's dating.
Yes.
Yes.
Jody is Aaron Rodgers. I almost feel bad. Like I almost really feel bad.
I feel bad for Jets fans too, because Jets fans be real hopeful too, and there's a hopeful Bears fan.
That shitty guy.
Yeah. I don't feel bad for them.
I don't feel
bad either.
You knew what you wanted.
What did Freddie Gibbs say again? You knew the job was crooked before you took it. So
no, I don't know. Listen, I mean, listen, the game is the game, but it's also a testament to just like the lack of I guess potential quarterback talent out there. If you're willing to like fucking live and die for this man who, yeah, don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic quarterback, but he also has not won a championship since I was like a fucking sophomore in high school. I'm almost 30. So like, you know, just throwing that out there. Your allegiance to, to this man is kind of wild.
I mean, you said it. Robert Salah's facial expression said everything.
Said everything.
Looked like they had a gun to his back at the press.
Like they're honestly, like they're 3-12 on the season.
He looked more cheerful when Aaron tore his Achilles in week 1 than he did at camp the other day. I'm gonna go to Pat first. Pat, do you think it's a big deal, or am I just being an Aaron Rodgers hater?
Nah, I mean, if it's mandatory camp, it's mandatory camp, and it's not like you somebody who didn't like ingratiate yourself to this organization for years. Like it ain't like it's Green Bay. Like you ain't got that kind of equity, I would think, within this organization. Like if it's mandatory camp, you should come to mandatory camp, bro. Like what else you doing? You probably on the internet reading conspiracy theories, bro. Like come to camp, bro. So yes, it's a big deal. If it's mandatory camp, mandatory means I don't have the complete Webster definition in front of me, but mandatory is some shit you supposed to do. So if you supposed to do it, you supposed to do it. And if you don't do it, then he right. You got to be punished in some level of way because again, you haven't ingratiated yourself. I know you Aaron Rodgers and you know Hall of Famer, all that, but you ain't been a Hall of Famer in this jersey. All you did was run on the court and run on the field and tell your Achilles 2 plays into the season. So you ain't got that kind of equity with this organization, and you do have to be punished because it just sends a bad message to everybody else, like you bigger than the team, and I don't think you've done enough in this jersey. You haven't done enough. No, some people are, but
people are,
but you haven't done enough in this jersey to act that way.
Honestly, like you said, Pat, if he was in Green Bay, I don't think we would be talking about
whatever.
This. Like you've been there 20 years, whatever. By the way, side note, before we get to Tulsa, if you want to see Paul George on TV during June, you better go to your TV right now. It's the only time you're gonna see it.
By the way, he was horrible.
That's crazy.
By the way, he was terrible pregame and like a halftime. He was not good.
That nigga, Stephen A. told him, if anybody knows what it feels like to not play with a star, it's this man right here.
Broadcasting is not for everybody. That's all we can say about that.
Yeah.
But as far as Aaron Rodgers, man, listen, I personally can't relate. I got a top 3 quarterback in the league, actually top 2.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out to Lamar. Because he did show up to minicamp. So that sucks. But Aaron Rodgers is just a weirdo. I think he was one of my favorite quarterbacks ever. And then as I've started to realize, yo, this is not a good person. Like if your mom, like you said, if your mom doesn't like you, if your dad doesn't like you, if
your brother don't like you,
yeah, something's wrong. Because clearly you're the issue. So yeah, Aaron Rodgers is bad vibes. And the Jets, again, you guys knew what you were getting into. Even at Green Bay, he started showing he's not a trustworthy guy. So you ended up making, getting into his relationship with this guy, and now he's showing you exactly who he is, and that's tough. You got to deal with that. So if worse comes to worse, you got Tyrod Taylor, and he's a Super Bowl champion too. So yeah, I mean that's tough. I mean
you're crazy.
Your quarterback is supposed to show up, right?
Super Bowl champion Tyrod Taylor.
Who did he win a ring with?
With my team, with the Ravens.
He did. He was Flacco's backup.
Yeah.
Well, that man Tyrod Taylor, keep a check, boy.
He does.
All
he does. I love the fact that him and Jacoby Brissett, just the black dudes stay with a job, always stay with a job. Boy. So shout out to them being quarterbacks at that. But yeah, Aaron is just if I'm going to go back to my British accent, he's a waste man. That's really all he is. So man's a waste man, isn't it? So that's what he is. So
when he comes back at camp, he's gonna be arrogant before him. I have things to do. He probably like you said, Pat. He probably in a basement right now looking up 9/11 conspiracy theories.
Boy, he is on the War. He is on the Warographics YouTube channel right now, googling shit about XYZ conflict. He ain't doing nothing, bro.
That man,
Alex
right?
Jones didn't have to pay Sandy Hook survivors. That's what he's talking about.
He's probably with Jordan Peterson somewhere doing something stupid.
That's when I kind of knew he was gonna get hurt. When this nigga came out with a flag on 9/11, when he don't even think 9/11 happened. That I was like, yeah, something's about to happen here. Like that's just kind of when I knew something was going on. Like I have been watching this for the longest time. And I even peeped something when I was rewatching Hard Knocks. I was rewatching Hard Knocks, kind of look at what can I expect, like media wise, with this. And I was like, I remember Randall Cobb yelling at Garrett Wilson was like, well, if you mess up, he ain't gonna throw it to you. He don't like throwing interceptions. I was like, oh, I know he don't, because I just seen that merchant throw out of bounds just to prevent from throwing a pick more times than I can count. So that's just go ahead.
You remember on the Hard Knocks thing when he was talking about the moon and he was talking about the moon and shit? That's what I was like, okay, yeah, he's a weirdo. Like he was talking about this in 05. I was like, oh, you're a weird dude. Like you've always been weird. I just didn't pay attention, but like, you were weird as shit.
That paper on this player haters, old news, money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not